In today's lesson, we're going to look at how to write an argument essay. Now, before we start this task, let's do a little review about what a sentence is, and what a paragraph is. Now, a sentence is a group of words. It begins with a capital letter and it ends with a full stop. A paragraph is a group of sentences. Now, a paragraph begins with an indentation, which is a space, and it has a number of sentences that are about the same topic. Okay, and finally, an essay. And an essay is a group of paragraphs. Now, what's important to remember about an essay is that each paragraph is different and has its own job. So, if we look at the breakdown of an essay is typically written in 4 paragraphs. Sometimes more, but rarely less. Now, the 4 paragraphs are: first, we write an introduction paragraph. Secondly, we write a supporting paragraph, or sometimes called a body paragraph. Third, we write a second supporting paragraph, or a second body paragraph. And finally, a conclusion paragraph. Okay, so each paragraph has its own job to do. Now, the introduction paragraph, this typically introduces our topic, and it also states what we plan to argue. So what we believe. Supporting paragraph 1 gives evidence that supports what we've said we're going to argue in the introduction paragraph. Supporting paragraph 2 gives different evidence that also supports what we said we'd argue in the introduction. Our conclusion is basically a summary and a restatement of what we have talked about and hopefully proven in the essay. So if we take these 4 paragraphs, now within each of these paragraphs there are specific sentences with specific jobs. So the introduction paragraph typically has 4 sentences, and now it can be sometimes more and sometimes less, but we want to have 4 specific ideas in this introduction paragraph. The first sentence is a background statement, and this statement just gives some general information about the topic of our essay. Okay, and we typically follow this with a detailed background statement. So basically we bring up our topic in the background statement and then we write something a little more detailed about that statement. Now the third sentence is the most important sentence in the entire essay, and that's our thesis. Now the thesis is what we are trying to prove. So if we're writing an essay that's claiming that Dubai is the most expensive city on the planet, well, we would say this directly in the thesis. Okay, we'll go into detail when we write one together. Now the last sentence we call the outline sentence. And the outline sentence tells us what topics we're going to speak about in supporting paragraph 1 and supporting paragraph 2. Okay, so that's the introduction paragraph. Those are the 4 sentences that we want to include in this paragraph. So let's look at now the supporting paragraphs. So also within the supporting paragraphs, there are sentences that have specific jobs. So the first sentence in supporting paragraph 1 is the topic sentence. And this includes the subject we will use that supports our thesis. Okay, so once again, if we're talking about Dubai being the most expensive city in the world, well, we might look at, in our supporting paragraph 1, say real estate and how it's very expensive to live in Dubai. Now, the second sentence is an example, and this example must be true from real life. Okay, so typically we don't want to make up something, you know, in our head that's not true. We want to use something that's real. So we can say, perhaps we do some research on the internet and we find that Dubai, the real estate in Dubai has risen in cost by, say, I don't know, 100% in the last 2 years. Okay, and so if we can find some evidence that supports the idea that's presented in our topic, then we present it here. So this would be evidence supporting the topic. Okay, the third sentence in the supporting paragraph is the discussion. Now the discussion sentence is the hardest sentence to write in this paragraph. The discussion sentence links the example to the topic. Okay, so in the topic we've said that real estate is one thing that's making Dubai the most expensive city to live in the world, and then we can say, for example, and then after some research we found that the price of real estate has gone up by 100% in the last 2 years. Now the discussion, we would say something like this clearly shows that Dubai is well on its way to becoming one of the most expensive cities to live in the world. Now the last sentence in the supporting paragraph is the conclusion. And the conclusion links the topic to the thesis. So in this sentence, we want to link the idea directly that that real estate in Dubai is contributing to making Dubai the most expensive city to live in the world.